Oh, thank you all for sitting back down. Thank you. Now, if you could stay seated, please. That was a bit much. As I was outside watching the queue going in, and I was standing near the top of the queue, and I'm thinking, oh, some of these are my fans. Some of these want to be here to see me. And I heard a woman going, he's jumping the queue. And okay, some people just like comedy. And I know the people that didn't recognize me. I assume it's just that one woman. Other people did think, oh God, I know him. I've even misrecognized myself. I turned on, last October, I turned on TV and the Sky homepage was up and I saw the little pen picture and I went, what am I on? That's me. And then I went, no, it's not me. It's a thing called the Penguin. And after a little bit of research, I realised that it takes Colin Farrell 4 hours to go from looking like Colin Farrell to looking like this. And I was telling my friend, myself and a friend went to McDonald's in Temple Bar before the gig here last night, just to get coffee. I know that's the bit that you don't believe. And before we left, I said, I actually need the toilet. I don't know why I whispered. It does happen. And I need a wee. And I said, oh, is the toilets? And they went, oh, it's 2 floors up. And I went, can I use the disabled toilet? And they went, oh yeah, of course. And then I realised, oh God, you better put on a bit of a show. So I started limping over and went, you've never looked more like the Penguin than right now, Karl. It's been a fun year. I'm from Limerick, and it was weird watching Clare win the All-Ireland. I don't know if you saw that. Clare won the All-Ireland, which was nice for them. But it was also nice for the Ukrainians, because the Clare people are driving around with the blue and yellow flags on their cars. And the Ukrainians are thinking, see, these people still care. Look, we haven't been forgotten. And, just to put a date on this, it is kind of mad watching the whole America thing. Hope people watch this in a few months. God, that really cleared up. That joke looks so old. But the weird thing of people in Ireland laughing at the Americans going, they're claiming Canada. Isn't that mad? Until you point out, yeah, it's weird, isn't it? The Republicans claiming that the land to the north of the border is rightfully theirs. See that Irish? I can see the joke, Karl, but no, we're not going to use a full endorsement there. Yeah, we'll edit in the standing ovation there and all. Close-ups on all of you, you'll be the ones hunted down. But this show it's a long story which I'll get into, and it's not, I'm not one of those comedians who does offensive jokes. I know some of you like all that shit, don't you? Yeah. I don't. Sorry, he was just sitting there. That's why. The guy was sitting there last night. So it's just, it shows I can vary it a bit. I did in the past do those jokes. I did jokes that upset people. I'm not proud of it. Did jokes about televisions that upset people. Sandwiches upset people. A chain of hardware stores upset people. And it was terrible. I had the whole LGTV, BLT, B&Q community coming after me. And thank you. Genuine applause. I feel if I talk over it, they'll leave it in. Someone did come up to me and go, that's offensive. And I'm like, that's just wordplay. It's parallel. It's not, it's about the... And they went, I'm dyslexic. And I went, oh. French Connection UK off then, will you? And someone else trying to wind me up going, is it not seen as a trans joke? And I went, it's not a trans joke. Geez, I'm not doing a trans joke. And I possibly could, I have a pair of tits and a previously working penis. If that doesn't give me the right, I don't know what does. Well, anyway, back to the story. That will start. So basically, as a comedian, this is what I've done for 25 years, travelled all over the world, but there's nowhere I love more than the Craic down. This is my favourite place to play, and I will always come back. Can you delete those pictures now, Demo? Not just he looks like Colin Farrell, his penis looks like Danny DeVito. Small fat hair sticking out the side, hasn't done much since the 90s. I'm Penguin top to bottom. I was booked to do a gig in Galway a few years ago. This is where this story comes from. I was booked to do the gig. On the morning of the gig, I get a call. I live in Limerick. I got a call. I go, hi, how's it going? And Carl, you still all right for tonight? I went, yeah, the support act is cancelled. And I went, okay, you're getting someone else. He goes, no, you get someone else, right? And I went, why? He says, I don't want to be ringing all round. And I was like, and I did a selfish thing, right? I thought of getting my friend to do the gig because he owed me money, right? So it was a friend of mine who I knew from school who started doing comedy because I did comedy. He's kind of, that can't be too hard if you're doing it. And I went, no, it is hard. Where are you going to get jokes? You can get jokes from anywhere, off the internet. I went, you can't do that, right? But he's one of these people who breezes through life. You know, he's just good looking enough that he gets by things. And he's the kind of girls would go, oh, I like him. Now, you wouldn't marry him, girls. You wouldn't marry him, but, you know, he'd have felt you up at Fela or Electric Picnic looking at the audience profile, right? And you'd have gone, oh, I'm not telling all the girls about that, but, you know. So he's one of these people who breeze through life. So I said, you know what, I'll get him. I'll get the money back he owes me. And I rang him and I said, where are you? He goes, I'm in the Chinese, which he had a number of part-time jobs as well as, he did everything part-time. And I'm in the Chinese, called down to me and I went, oh, geez, can you not just answer over the phone? So I drove down to the Chinese restaurant. I needed my breakfast anyway, so why not? And few people got it straight away, a couple more kind of, I think I know what that joke is. Yeah. And I go in, he's in there behind the counter, and he's like, how's it going, what's the story? And I'm there going, I've got a gig for you tonight in Galway if you want, right? And he said the great thing of, brilliant, I'll ring in sick. And you're in work now. Full of the joys of life, right? And he was the counter guy, the phone guy. And the Chinese guys, you could see them making the food. One of them, Ronan, we went to school with. I don't know what his Irish name is. I only know his Chinese name. He came over, his family, well, he was actually, I think he was born, came over to Ireland when he was 2. And we knew him as Ronan, but everyone used to say it kind of Chinese, Ronan! You know, but yeah. That bit might be edited out, I'm not sure. The fact that it's true doesn't excuse anything. So we knew him for years. So I'm chatting to him, telling him, look, there's a gig in Galway, you'll get this much money, you'll have to book accommodation, I'll drive you up, I'll drive you back tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, yeah, I'll ring and say. And I was like, I'll ring and say, I'll ring one of the girls, tell her I'm sick, and she'll come in and take over, blah, blah, blah. So we're chatting about this, and I says, I'll come back in about 40 minutes and collect you if you want, and we'll go to Galway. And he goes, yeah. And before I left, the phone rang in the Chinese restaurant. And he goes, yeah. And he just picks up the phone. And in a Chinese accent, he goes, hello? And I'm staring at him going, what the fuck is this? The 4 Chinese lads behind the counter are already pissing themselves. I found out this was their idea. As a reporter, I was completely appalled. Probably more appalled than you are now. And he kept doing broken Chinese accent to the person down the phone, who was getting more and more frustrated, trying to get their order. And he goes, okay, say again. And I'm genuinely going, what the hell is happening? And he sees my look at my face. He goes, one second. It passes the day. I'll be back in a while. And I went, got ready, got my stuff, heading up, and I come back and collect him. And it's that thing of, I think we all, have one of these friends, but I collected him. He didn't even have a jacket. He just came out dressed the way he was behind the counter. Whenever he had these pockets and the t-shirt and jeans and whatever footwear he was wearing, and just comes out, I went, have you to get stuff? And he goes, no, grand. And I was like, right. So we get into the car, we're leaving Limerick, and it's already, he's excited. He's bouncing in the chair, going, bonus gig. And I'm telling him how much money. I says, and you can pay me back some of the money you owe me, if you want, out of that. And he goes, oh, no. What do you mean no? He says, that money's earmarked for something else. And I went, that money isn't earmarked for anything. This is money you didn't know about half an hour ago. That you haven't, oh no, that's budgeted elsewhere now. In the fiscal year, that's not going to be used for settling any outstanding debts there. No. So he goes, no. And I'm getting annoyed at this. And then he goes, road trip. He starts changing, getting excited. Road trip. I says, we're driving to Galway. It's about an hour and a half. He goes, road trip. And I'm like, he's there messing with the radio, trying to find a tune he likes. I said, just, can I put my Bluetooth on? Oh, gee, whatever, right? And road trip, I've got this. And then he goes, let's Thelma and Louise the fuck out of this, right? And I said, you know they drove off a cliff? And he goes, women drivers, right? No, I said, if you ever say that on stage, you better pretend someone else said it. And you just happen to be in the car. Thank you. You all sat down again. Thank you. And we're driving up, and as much, you're all going, oh, two comedians together in a car. It's usually boring. We're usually talking about jokes, which was what was happening. Trying out new jokes. I've got this new one. What do you think? And they're going, oh yeah, that's all right. He also out of nowhere says, oh, I've got your book as well to give back to you. I don't have it on me, which I knew. The book I borrowed off you. And I went, what book did you borrow off me? Spike Milligan book. And a book called Hitler, My Part in His Downfall, right? Most people know who Spike Milligan is, do you? He was famous British comedian of Irish origin, back in the from 40s, 50s, 60s, all the way up. I think he died in the 90s or early 2000s. Brilliant, absolute brilliant mind, brilliant comedian. And I was given this book, Hitler, My Part in His Downfall, as a present for my 17th birthday. So it was not precious, but it's still, fond of the book. And he goes, oh, I have the book back for you. I'll give it back to you and I'll find the cover. Now, he hadn't borrowed it. He'd stolen it. But remembered where he'd stolen it and was giving it back. And I was annoyed. I was like, oh, geez, the cover's gone off it now and probably whatever else. And he goes, I've highlighted a couple of bits you might like. And I'm like, I've read the book twice. And I went, what did you like about the book? And this was what he took. Now, the book, Hitler, My Part in His Downfall, Spike Milligan served with the British Army on the, Army is not a word. And the British Army in World War II on the continent. And it's about that, his adventures of bringing down Hitler, his part in his downfall. And he was talking about that. And the bit my mate took out of that book was that the British soldiers who were lonely and missing their sweethearts at the front used to give each other hand jobs. I know, that's not the funny line. That's not it. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, that's mad. And I said to him, geez, that's the worst thing I've ever heard a British soldier doing, right? Now, that reaction's fine. A few people laughing. In Derry, I got a noise that scared me out of the audience. I literally, whoa! So I'm going, and we're laughing about that, doing jokes about that, we're chatting on the way up. And I reminded him now, he says, look, I'm given the apartment that the venue has, the Roisin Dove has the apartment behind the venue. I'm staying there, but it's a one-bedroom apartment. You're not staying with me, you're not sleeping in the car, so just book the B&B. And be done with it. Just ring the B&B, you know the number, we've all stayed there, blah, blah, blah. It's only, 30-something quid or whatever. I says, just ring them. And he goes, no. I've got a plan. I went, no. You don't have a plan. You've no plan. You haven't planned anything. And I said, what's your plan? What's your plan for accommodation tonight without paying for it? And he said, I'm going to score with someone. And I was like, oh my God, how can you guarantee you'll score with someone on any night out? You're going to the gig tonight. How can you guarantee you'll score with someone? And he used a line that still scares me, right? He goes, I'll go as ugly as it takes. And I said, geez, I think I was with her. I wasn't. And we're going up, and we're still the rest of the drive, and I was there, right? So He's not going to book accommodation. I'm there. You're not staying with me. And I'm emphasising it over and over again before we even get near Galway. And also, because I've got him the gig, you know, he's going to get some money. I'm driving him up and back. I suggested, which would be courteous for him, to buy dinner. So I brought this up and I said, we might pay for dinner as a thank you for me doing the driving and all this, blah, blah, blah. Or else you might be walking home or getting the bus. And he goes, okay, Supermax. And I went, no, not Supermax. And he was picking it for the cheap option, right? And I was thinking, no, even the fish and chip place, McDonald's would be nice. He goes, no, Supermax. And he goes, you like Supermax? I went, I do, but not when someone else is paying for it. I can have Supermax as well as you buying the thing. Can have that after the gig. And he goes, no, Supermax. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. And okay, Supermax, right? So eventually we get to Galway. We're sitting in Supermax. And I'm still annoyed at the Supermax thing, but he bought me a large meal. And I actually felt that extra, whatever it was, 25, 35 cents, actually made a difference. I genuinely felt, oh, in fairness, that's... And I'm there going, am I that easily swayed? And your one goes, would you like a large meal? Yeah, he'll have a large meal. And I was like, oh, thank you. So I'm sitting there, hadn't said it, hadn't acknowledged his gesture. And of those few extra chips and the larger drink. And we're sitting there, we're nearly finished the food, and he goes, I'm going to have a cigarette. Do you want an ice cream? Do you want a 99? And I went, I'd love a 99. I was like, where's this side of him I've never seen? And then he goes, get me one as well. And all that, I'm not angry, but oh, you know, I've done him this and this. It's hardly a selfish act to try and help him pay me back. And so don't analyse that. Mightn't hold up to the light. And I went up to get the 2.99s, and I made a decision. I'm buying 1.99. And he's standing outside Supermax, the one at the end of Shop Street, not the big one on the up by Eyre Square. And I walk out, and I bought just 1.99. And I literally walk out with an empty hand and a 99. And I don't want to act out on the microphone what I did to the 99, but we'll call it perform sex acts on it, right? Mainly the chocolate. I'm not an animal, right? So I walk out and I'm there like, you know, basically giving the flake a blowjob, right? In front, and he's looking at me and looking at the empty hand isn't just confused. And he's like, what? Where's mine? Where's mine? And I'm like, in his face, and he's talking, and I'm kind of, maybe there's just that grin on my face. And he got annoyed, and he just shoved the ice cream into my face. And it fell on the ground, so my face is covered in ice cream. It hits the ground, and he did the runaway that you do as a kid, or you know, in school, where you don't you run off. It's kind of like, and I was livid. Now I swooped down, scooped up the ice cream like I'd been training for it. All in one motion, scooped it up like a snowball, and I could see him running away, but he wasn't too far. And I went, he's a big enough target. I'm gonna hit him, and I released it, and I saw it swoop through the air. That's gonna hit him right in the center of his one T-shirt in the back, and I didn't know he'd eyes in the back of his head, but he moved at the last second. And the ice cream was stopped by the face of a 7-year-old girl. And, right on the nose, like right. The nose was like a button. Well, if the nose would just press that button, that makes that child cry for the rest of the time. Like an alarm going off. I'm there. She was there with her father. The father looks at his poor daughter going, what the hell's happened? He was distracted looking somewhere else. Suddenly his daughter's like, looks at his daughter, sees ice cream, goes, where the fuck has that come from? Looks up, there's a man with ice cream dripping from his hand, and ice cream stained in front of him. And he looks at his daughter, looks at me, and I'm dead. And I ran away, going, I ran around the corner and ran down. I'm going around the next corner into a pub called Nocton's. It's got all little cubby holes and little... Snugs, thank you, the little snugs. So I'm in one of them and I'm bouncing up and down. Every time I hear the door, I'm looking, is that him at the front? And I text my mate, I go, where the fuck are you? I'm in Nocton's and blah, blah, blah. And he comes in and I can hear him laughing, looking. I didn't even hear the door open, I just, He comes in, finds me, and I'm like, for fuck, I'm dead. He goes, what is this? He goes, that's hilarious, right? And I went, I'm dead. He goes, I thought you you were throwing it at me. Yeah, do you know what? I changed my mind last second. You know, and I'm gonna get, oh, not him, the child. And he goes, that was so funny. And I went, it's not funny, I'm dead. And he goes, no, this is what? He's hardly he's gone. He's looking after the child, he can't catch it. What are you talking about? My poster is all over town. Telling people where I'm going to be and at what time tonight. And he came back with a kind of a good argument. He went, you look great in that picture. That's not an accurate representation of how you look now. And part of me was relieved. Oh, that's true. So I'm kind of relaxing, but I was like, oh, I'm still dead. Like, and what if he knew me? What if he saw me and go, that's the comedian, Karl Spain, oh my God, like, you know, that's attacked my child. And I went, no. And so I was still a bit nervous, and we stayed in the pub. I just hid till near gig time, walked down for the gig, and we walked in, and before we went in, I did something I never do. I was nice to the bouncers. Hey guys, how you getting on? Do you want me to get you a coffee or anything? And they're looking and go, what's he doing? He's going to put laxatives in it or something like that. Like, I'd say different things all the time, like, and you go, oh God, lads, what are you queuing for? Just go in. I can't switch off jokes all the time, you know. If I walk into a cafe, they'll go, okay, you can sit wherever you like. I'll go, okay, move those people. You know, I've too many, that I just, you know, can't switch that off. So I'm very nice to the bouncers with the hope that if a guy does come in and attack me, that they will go, oh, he deserves that. They'll go, no, he bought us a coffee earlier. But they were too suspicious. Going, what? No, we're fine. We don't want anything. And I went, okay, guys, see you later. And I'm like, oh God, this doesn't even sound like me, right? The first person we met when we went in was another comedian. He was doing an open spot, which is a new comedian thing, right? So new comedians will do what's called an open spot, where they do 5 minutes. They do that for a while, they get good, they move up to 10 minutes, 15, 20, and then they have their career. This guy'd been in open spot forever. His name was Sean, right? But he wasn't known as Sean, he was known as Boring Sean. Because he's one of these people who he'll talk to you and you'll actually lose the will to live. So we walk in and he's like, how are you, Karl, how's getting on? And I'm like, oh, how are you, Sean? And I said, do you, any news? And he shocked me, he goes, well, I was in New York recently. And I was like, what? And he goes, what you do in New York? Anything exciting? He goes, well, I saw episodes of CSI Miami that you won't see till next year. 1-0 to Sean, wow. Who'd you go with? I went with the mother. Did you go out and see any comedy? Oh no, if you go out at night, you get murdered. And I went, but you saw some episodes of CSI Miami a few months before. Yeah, exactly. So to get away from Boring Sean, we went out the back. We said, oh, let's go to the toilet. Myself and my mate went out. I don't use his name because in case. Anyway, we went out the back and we're doing impressions of Boring Sean, going, oh my God, you know, to each other. And out the back of the Roisin Dove is on the canal. The bins are down to the side and there's apartments across. So sometimes with the water and everything, the noise can be quite off-putting and you're going, oh, where's that coming from? Anyway, and next time we heard these girls laughing and talking. I'm going, where is that coming from? They were just giggling and laughing. And then we realised where it was when we saw a pair of legs between the bins, because that's what the girls were doing. They were doing outdoor pissing, which is a great Irish sport. I don't know if the young girls keep doing it, but the girls of my generation did it the whole time. My favourite time of garden, one of my friends went up the road between two cars just off Dorset Street, and she goes, just watch out there. And I went, okay. She went. I could see her going down between the two cars, and what attracted my attention was the two cars drove off. I'll never be that funny. The laugh. And she was a cat. Like the amount of liquid she emptied out of it was anyway. That's not normally in the story, but anyway, we move on. So the girls were pissing, and they get up and they go, "Oh my God, it's the comedians! Oh Jesus, don't tell anyone about this." And we're like, "No." I says, "Are you going to the show?" Yeah. And I'm thinking, "Oh, fucking, he could score with one of these, you know." There was 3 girls. They're all lovely looking girls, nice girls, but we're thinking, "Oh, the big gamey pissing in the street. It's still early." And they went in to do the gig. We did the gig. I got a bit annoyed with him at the interval because I pointed out to him that, "Oh, those new jokes you did." He goes, "Yeah." I says, "The ones I told you in the car saying, 'Here's my new jokes.'" He goes, "That's just conversation. That's up for grabs." It's not conversation when I go, "This is my new joke." He goes, "That's conversation, man. That's conversation." So we did the show. After the show, myself, him, and Boring Sean, I nearly used his real name, Boring Sean got chatting to the 3 girls. And it was one of those things which never happens when there's more than one man, if you're chatting to 2 people, that you both like different people. So the 3 of us liked different people. We're all kind of paired off, and this is perfect. So we're all chatting and getting on great. Boring Sean was gone with his girl in like half an hour. And the 2 girls were worried, going, "God, will it be all right with him?" And then we were like, "Well, if she likes missionary position and being watched by his mother, she'll be fine." "I'll just be a minute, ma'am. Can you put on some tea for her? She'll be out." "Have you spare nightie that she could wear, mammy, so she could stick?" That's made up as opposed to something I've witnessed. So myself and my mate ended up chatting to the girls, and we said, "We're all this thing," and the girls go, "Is there somewhere we could go? Let's get some drink and go somewhere." And my friend goes, "Oh, he's in an apartment around the corner." So I was like, "Oh, fuck's sake." So we went around the corner with some drink that we bought from the Roisin, if that's legal, if it's an off license as well. Or maybe we already had it, depending on the law. And the 4 of us are kind of crammed in the kitchen, and we're chatting to each other, and it's all like, "How are you getting on?" It's nice. And then as we paired off, and it's going, and the girl he was talking to was a single mother and a nurse, which he strikes as double gold. He'd said it in the car on the way up. "Do you know who the best women are? Single mothers or nurses. Because they don't get out enough, and when they do, they go mental." So when we'd met them, and she said, "Oh, I'm a nurse, but I'm also a single mother," he looked at me going, back off." So I was chatting to the girl I was with. She'd been divorced, and but she doesn't get out much. But she was lovely. We're chatting, and I'm thinking, "Geez, I could move to Galway. I could see this happening." We're chatting to the girls, and then after a while, they do the girly thing of, "Oh, we're both going to the toilet together." So they go off to do some kind of tactical chat, and we're chatting, and my mate goes to me, going, "Could happen now, couldn't it?" And I'm like, we'll see. And he goes, "You're anxious, aren't you? You're anxious. I can see you're anxious." And I'm grand. And he goes, "Here." And he opened his hand, and there was 2 pills in his hand. He goes, "I'm not on any drugs." He goes, No. They're super strong Chinese Viagra. Extra strong." So I took the 2 of them, took a sip, and went, "Why do I need 2 of them if they're extra strong? One of them was mine." "You fucking joke." And when his girl comes back and goes, "Karl, will you go in and chat to her?" And I went, "What? Why is she coming out? We were fine." And I went, "Oh, in the bedroom. Oh, fuck." So I go into the bedroom. She's already in the bed, and her clothes are on the ground, displaying what she's taken off. And my assumption is there's only one thing left. I mean, she wouldn't want to seem too keen. And but she's far ahead of me, and I was a bit like, "Oh God, there's been no wooing here or anything." I'm just like, okay. But her tone had changed. Everything had changed about it. She was like, "I'm gonna do shit to you. That's illegal, right?" And I could hear myself go, "We don't need to break any laws now here. This is we can stay within the laws." And then it's all this. She's going and talk, get your clothes, and I'm like, going, I feel more like, I'm slow to get dressed, and I had a shirt on. I started unbuttoning the shirt, and I'm like, okay, I'm really not ready for this. I hadn't been hacked by the Chinese yet or anything yet. And I'm going, "Okay, let's go. And her phone rang, and I was like, "Oh," "Don't answer it." She goes, "No, it's my ex." And she answers the phone with, "What? I'm fucking somebody." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And I was thinking, I was moving to Galway, as I said, about 10 minutes ago. Now I'm thinking, this is how my relationship with her has ended. It's just that toxicity coming out of her. It's just, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And she's screaming down the phone at your man. And then she hangs up the phone and I'm going, okay, I have another button open. It's kind of killed the momentum, you know. I didn't want to take anything off when she wasn't looking. I didn't want her to miss out. And she's there, I have to go. And I'm partly relieved, to be honest. She goes, oh, is everything all right? She goes, no, he's such a bastard. I goes, what's he done? And she goes, oh, he was looking after our daughter, but she got hit in the face today by someone. Threw an ice cream at her. And I'm like, oh my God. That's unbelievable. That's genuinely unbelievable. And I said, did he see who did it? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, oh God. He said it was a fat traveller. They're the worst. Oh my God. That's shocking. A poor little blonde kid. How do you know she was blonde? I don't know. And they're the ones usually targeted. She got dressed. I actually saw her boobs, but we went out. People think I'm a loser. And we were knocking on the door to make sure everything was all right. We weren't to get her friend, and when we opened the door, her friend still had her coat on. My mate had stripped down to the way. I don't know what was going on. I never asked him. I probably should. So the two women left, and he was just giggling, and I went, like, you know, you've nowhere to stay now. And he goes, oh no, I'll stay here. And I went, no, you're not, right? And he goes, what a funny story. And I went, what's funny? And he goes, the ice cream on the kid's face. I was just telling her that. And no, you didn't. It's a funny story, man. And I wasn't sure until I heard on the door, banging to get back in. Being the man I am, I faced up by just turning off the light as if we've just gone out in the 30 seconds since you left. Turned off the light. Eventually they left, and it was like, oh my God, that was horrific. That was like the worst. And the night ended. He wouldn't leave then. They're waiting for me outside. They'll get me to get at you. And I went, I'd fucking get you to get at me now. So the night ended with the two of us in the bed. We'd been hacked by the Chinese. And neither of us could sleep. And in the pitch dark, we kept going every so often. Are you asleep? No. Oh, fuck's sake. Oh, I'd say it was an hour in the dark. I remember going, do you remember the Spike Milligan book? Ladies and gentlemen, it's been special. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, we did that. Was that 25 minutes already? Was that the light? Fucking hell. I'm nowhere into this fucking story. So anyway, we all died in the end. Good night.